All right, so here we are as part of lesson 4.11 in the sixth grade curriculum, and I'm going to finish the reading of Jason and the Golden Fleece. Part 6, The Kingdom of the Colchis. The heroes sailed south until at last they arrived at the burning beach of Colchis. They strode from the beach into the city, and the king rode out in his chariot to meet them. His robes were made of heavy gold cloth, and his diadem flashed like lightning. In his hand he held a jeweled scepter which glittered like the stars. He looked at them sternly and said, "Who are you, and what business do you have here? I warn you, my people have never yet tried in battle, and we know well how to rid ourselves of an army as small as yours." Jason answered, "We are not pirates or lawless men. We come only to bring home our golden fleece. And these, my bold comrades, are no nameless men. They are heroes who also never tire in battle, and who know well how to give blows and to take. Yet we wish to be guests at your table, for it will be better that way for both of us." The king's eyes flashed fire, but he said, "You wish to take away the golden fleece without a fight? Very well. Choose the best man among him and let him fulfill the labors I demand. If he succeeds, I will give him the golden fleece for a prize." That evening, as Jason sat by the sea, planning how he might fulfill the labors and win the golden fleece, the king's daughter, Medea, crept out from the reeds and stood beside him. "Go home," she said to Jason. "You do not know what the man who wishes to win the fleece must do. He must tame two bronze-footed bulls that breathe fire and make them plow 4 acres. Then he must sow the furrows with serpent teeth. From each tooth will spring an armed warrior, and he must fight and conquer them all. If he is successful even in that, the fleece is guarded by a dragon as big as your ship, and he must step over its body to reach it." Jason laughed bitterly. "Unjustly is that fleece kept here, and by an unjust and lawless king. So unjustly I will die, for I will attempt it before another sun sets." "If you fear nothing, why should you die?" said Medea, trembling. "I can help you win the golden fleece." Jason's eyes glittered as she continued, "I have an ointment here. If you anoint yourself with it, you will have strength of 7 men, and if you anoint your shield with it, neither fire nor sword can harm you. Anoint your helmet with it before you sow the serpent's teeth, and when the warriors spring up out of the ground, cast your helmet in among them, and the fire will mow itself and perish, and the field will mow itself and perish." Then Jason fell to his knees before her and thanked her and kissed her hands, and she gave him the vase of ointment and fled into the reeds. At sunrise, Jason bathed and anointed himself from head to foot, and anointed his shield, his helmet, and his weapons. Then the heroes went to the king of Colchis and said, "Fulfill your promise to us. Give us the serpent's teeth and let loose the fiery bulls, for we have found a champion among us who can win the golden fleece." The king glared at them, but he could not go back on his promise, so he gave them the serpent's teeth. Then he called for his chariot and horses and sent heralds through the town, and all the people went with him to the dreadful field. Then Jason cried, "Let the fiery bulls come forth." The king ordered the gates open, and the bulls leaped out. Their bronze hoofs rang upon the ground, and their nostrils sent out sheets of flame as they rushed with lowered heads towards Jason. But Jason did not move an inch. The flame of their breath swept round him, but the ointment prevented it from burning even a single hair on his head. He sprang upon the nearest and seized them by the horns. Up and down they wrestled until the bull fell to his knees. In a moment he had tamed the second and yoked them both to the plow and goaded them on his lance until they had plowed the entire field. Then he sowed the serpent's teeth in the furrows and waited. And Medea looked at him and at his helmet so that he would not forget the instructions she had given him. Soon smoke began to rise from the fields. Every furrow began to heave and bubble. Then out of every cloud of dirt rose a warrior clad from head to foot in armor. As one, they drew their swords and rushed on Jason, where he stood in the midst of them alone. The heroes were wide-eyed with fear, and the king laughed and said, "See, if I had not warriors enough already round me, I could even call them out of the earth." But Jason snatched off his helmet and hurled it into the thickest of the throng. And one cried to his fellow, "You struck me, you must die!" To which the other replied, "Nay, you must die!" Then, as fury seized upon the earth-born phantoms, each turned his hand against the rest, and they fought until they all lay still upon the ground. Then the magic furrows opened, and the kind earth took them home, and the grass grew green again above them, and Jason's work was done. 7. The escape. The heroes cheered, and Jason cried, "Lead me to the fleece this moment before the sun goes down." But the king thought, he has conquered the bulls and sown and reaped the deadly crop. He very well may kill the dragon, but how could he know our secrets? Then he turned to Medea. This is your doing, isn't it, my daughter? False maid, you have helped these yellow-haired strangers and brought shame upon us. Medea shrank back, and she could not meet the king's eyes. The king knew that she was guilty and hissed, if they win the fleece, you will die. To the heroes he said, we will decide in the morning when you shall face the dragon that guards the golden fleece. But as the heroes marched back to the Argo, they growled like lions, cheated out of their prey. One of them said, this king will never let us face the dragon and try to win the golden fleece, so let us go to the grove together tonight and take the fleece by force. Said another, yes, we can draw lots for who shall go first. When the dragon is devouring one, the rest can slay him and carry off for the fleece. But Jason held them back, for he hoped for Medea's help. When darkness fell, Medea slipped out of the shadows and cried, my father has found out that I have helped you. Go home, for my end is near. You need not die, said Jason. Flee with us across the sea. Show us how to win the fleece and come with us. You shall be my queen and rule with me in Iolcus by the sea. But Medea wept. Must I leave my home and my people and wander with strangers across the sea? She said between sobs. I cast my lot and I must endure it. I will show you how to win the golden fleece. Bring your ship by the woods and moor her there against the bank. Come up at midnight and Orpheus with you. For I hear that he is the king of all minstrels and can charm all things on the earth. And Orpheus laughed for joy and clapped his hands because the choice had fallen on him. For in those days, poets and singers were as bold as warriors, as the best. So at midnight they went up to the bank, and Medea led them through the wood to where the golden fleece hung upon a tree. Jason would not have sprung to seize him, but Medea held him back and pointed where the dragon lay. His body was like a mountain pine. His coils stretched many fathoms and were spangled with bronze and gold. When he saw them coming, he lifted his eyes and watched them with small, bright eyes. He flashed his forked tongue and roared until the forest swayed and groaned. But Medea called gently to him, and he stretched out his long spotted neck, licked her hand, and reached and looked up in her face, asking for food. Then she made a sign to Orpheus, and he began his song. As he sang, the forest grew calm, and the leaves on every tree hung still, and the serpent's head sank down, his brazen coils limp, and his glittering eyes closed lazily until he breathed as gently as a child. I'm going to have to give you one more recording to finish up the end.